5 weeks, 5 influencers have had their skills put to the test. They've been challenged to get outside of their comfort zones and reflect on what it means to really be an influencer. Today, we take a look back at their journey to see what this career really entails. Welcome to Influence This. Each week, we are putting 5 influencers to the test to see if they can create videos for either a small business or a good cause. This will test their creativity and ingenuity while allowing us to watch the process. With me, your host, Malia Molino, your macabre-loving travel and history expert. Welcome to Influence This. Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you. You guys look fantastic.
Thank you so much.
How are we all feeling?
Great. A little sad.
Yeah. They're all getting blocked after this.
You're so cutthroat.
Just kidding.
I already
love them so
unfollowed
much.
all.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, you know, it wouldn't be Influence This if we didn't have one more little surprise. So as the final plot twist, for all 5 weeks, for all of your videos, we have had the owner of Bobit Business Media watch all of them, and he is actually with us today. Colin Sutherland is the CEO of one of America's oldest business media companies. He is a passionate supporter of family businesses, entrepreneurs, and the professional development of employees. Bobit Business Media publications, digital and social media posts are consumed by over 2 million business owners and their employees monthly. Please welcome Colin.
Hi, I'm Colin Sutherland, CEO of Bobit Business Media, the owner of one of the oldest business publications in North America. The acceleration over the last 5 years of the social media platform is really incredible. So to me, the social media platform enables individuals who want to be an influencer to take it in multiple different directions. Hi, it's Colin Sutherland. Hello from Mumbai, India. Here in Bogota with our client Wholesome here in Washington, D.C. Well, we just wrapped up here at the Telematics Conference for Middle East Africa in Dubai. One of the reasons I wanted to create Influence This was this idea that an influencer to me was somebody who thought it's all about me and me showing how I'm using a product or a service that was given to me. In the business world, it's all about them. It's all about the business itself and who the business is trying to serve. Yeah, come out to connect and learn more about the Domino's story and talk to the owners themselves. Christian and Stephanie are phenomenal owners here. So we hope to challenge the influencers on this show and the people watching the show to just think differently about what is the role of a social media influencer today, and is it a long-term career? And I truly believe that it will be the next generation of content creators, editors, thought-provoking individuals will be delivering their message over social media in a responsible way. And we hope to be part of that journey for those influencers to learn more about the audience that they're communicating to and what's important to them.
Thank you so much for being here. I would love it if you'd explain to them what Bobit Business Media is and why you wanted to influence this on your platform.
Some of our publications go back 100 years. In fact, some of the episodes we focused on for the last 5 episodes have been for the salon industry, and that's our oldest industry. We just celebrated a 101-year anniversary. The business publication industry represents the lifeblood of the economy, the evolution of small business to large, medium-sized businesses, and publication has evolved. It used to always be print. You would always get your print magazine delivered to your home, and then it went to events, and then it went to digital email and newsletters. So social media is one of those areas of communication for small businesses that has really expanded in the last 5 or 6 years, especially over the last 4 years. And our company's embraced that now with over 2 million social media followers on a monthly basis for what we do here. We're so excited to be able to explore even deeper with the cast of Influence This to see exactly how can we connect the influencing community even deeper to the needs of a small business. So it's really been an honor to be able to support you all on the show.
Absolutely. I think it's safe to say we really put our influencers to the ringer this season, with each challenge getting harder and harder. Let's take a look back at some of the videos they created this season.
Where do you usually buy your vintage clothes?
Today, it's all about unique vintage.
Look, man, just be careful, okay?
Texting on your toilet, I mean, we all do it, and that's so slay.
Tell us more about the growth of your company. I own cosplay spaces.
Introducing Lonjo Study.
Do you know them? No. But in DeClerc, we all fam. What?
It's time to learn about business associations.
I am so happy that there are places like the Trans Latina Coalition who can help people like little me, who just had dreams of being who they were meant to be.
I'm so proud of what all of you guys created. And Colin, you seem to really enjoy the videos, but I'm curious, what stood out to you the most?
I always think it's interesting in the creative process when you all receive the exact same challenge, but you all approach it from a completely different tact. That's what creativity is all about. So to me, that was the most exciting thing to see. And quite frankly, it's interesting to see how maybe the people watching the show might be seeing how you responded to a challenge, and they may want to do the same thing. I think I could do that same challenge. I would love to see people post their own social media posts from the challenges you've done and see how they could maybe take a clue from what you guys did.
I like that idea a lot, actually. I really like that. Well, I think it's really safe to say that the quality of all of your work really expanded at the course of all of these videos. And I'm really curious, has this changed your guys' process and your content now?
I think so. I mean, I just think being on this show adds a bit more legitimacy to what I'm doing. Like, just psychologically, I feel like I take myself a bit more seriously as a creator, as an influencer. And then being paired with businesses reminds you that this too is a business. It's a creative outlet, but it's also an opportunity to leverage business partnership and be of assistance in that way. So yeah, it's definitely changed the way I look at influencing for sure and content creation.
And I think for me and Yaya especially, we're learners in this, and so we're watching these beautifully edited versions of what these younger kiddos are doing. We call them our kiddos, but we're learning from them because they're showing us too. Oh, try this, try that. So it's been such a learning experience as well. And so for both of us, it's like we now have kind of a way to get there, which I didn't even think about before until being on this show.
Well, and you can tell in your work. You can really tell when you start experimenting with different content styles, different editing techniques. Like, you guys, you can really see the growth in especially your content because you are newer, but you have tackled it and like kept up in a really impressive way.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm not so afraid of the camera anymore.
Yeah, that's huge.
I used to just blank out, but now it's like, okay.
Confidence is key.
Confidence, yes.
In business, confidence. Confidence is everything.
Always project confidence every time.
Fake it till you make it is what I say.
100%. I definitely think that it feels good because personally, I remember being in high school, coming home from school, pushing out content, and I just always felt like it was worthless or it had no value. Even though I had numbers, I've always wanted something to like make for a reason. I was just pushing content out because I was bored and I needed joy, but to be on a show where someone's like, I need you to do this, it gave me a reason to make videos, which is my love, like my passion. I love creating. So for me to have a challenge and to make a challenge and then for it to be pushed out and influenced, man, it feels good.
No, I think it honestly helped me with criticism. I think that's really where I was at because I feel like coming into this, I feel really comfortable in my journey as a content creator. So I really felt like it was going to be a cakewalk. And I think that was where I messed up because you're coming in and it's really like you're getting dissected. Everything that you do is like you're being watched. And it's like we do that on a daily, but we don't have someone else giving us a feedback every week. Getting that criticism was really like affecting me, not in a negative way, but I think it was just learning how to take it and use it to my advantage. And I think finally I was able to really understand what you guys meant having that extra week to reshoot a video.
Yeah.
So that's really where it was for me, that benefit was the criticism.
Well, you know, it's an interesting point you bring up because as influencers, I mean, in a lot of ways, your job is pitching yourself. That's most of the job, really. But you're not getting to hear the conversations behind the scenes of like why they would or wouldn't pick your video.
Right.
So this is a very unique experiment in that way. You're actually getting to hear it.
In fact, in some cases, for one of the businesses that you were working with in the last 5 episodes, they produced their own corporate video and they put that on their social media channels and they didn't get the response they were hoping for, and the feedback they said is it looked too polished. So having you take the same business and do it more organically is something that we were looking for. So it's really interesting to me. So corporations and businesses will learn from this show and what you've managed to accomplish yourselves by saying it doesn't have to be the corporate, really great beauty shot. It is fine to do organic, real work and touch the answer, right, from your own lens. And I think that's really a beneficial thing for me to watch on the show.
That's a great point you bring up because I was actually going to ask you, like, as a business owner, what are you hoping this experiment teaches other businesses about how they can utilize influencers for social media marketing?
Well, they don't know how to tap into the influencer marketplace. You know, we all know the big names in the influencer spot, and my gosh, they charge an awful lot of money. And I don't know whether, You're paying for the influencer's brand and their followers, and I find that in some cases, the large following influencers are disconnected from the actual need. So what I'm hoping that we have is the ability for small businesses to connect with an influencing population, maybe in their community, that doesn't have a massive following. But on the other hand, it's also, I think, realizing that anyone can do it, right? And seeing how you approach the challenges uniquely on yourselves. They may even have their own staff members that they can say, we could probably do something viral and try it ourselves and see whether we can get started.
What's really important about people learning about influencing is anybody can do it. And the reason people gravitate towards it is you connect to people. Everybody wants to connect to a person. It's human nature. So I think it's not this vain industry that people like to make it out to be. It's just people that they end up liking and relating to, influencing them to think about things when they didn't before. And yes, that could theoretically be used for bad, but in most cases, it's really just helping people find things and share community, which I think is really beautiful. And you guys have found community here, which I think is really amazing. Each of our influencers represents a different niche and style, and their big personalities really shined over the course of this season. Our fashion diva, Naomi, always brought the laughs and the competition, even though this is not a competition show. Her content was consistently on brand, but she often felt like, in her own words, always the bridesmaid and never the bride. Let's take a look back on some of her best moments this season.
Hey loves, it's me, Naomi. My cats are saying hello.
Naomi, how you feeling?
Nervous? I'm nervous. I am nervous because this is something that I'm not used to doing. I don't know if they're gonna love it.
Out of all of the videos, I really think you did the best job of showcasing the true point. The only thing
I didn't go to school for this.
Love to have seen was you actually in the clothes. It would have been great if you could have explained more was the fact that you chose AI. It would have taken your video from like here to there.
I'm a little stressed. I think I totally failed, and I've been consistently second place.
You've been really hard on yourself.
I just want to be first. I like the pressure and working under pressure. Who doesn't want best video? Go from an extra small to a 5X is unheard of.
Very good job.
Texting while distracted is not slay.
Honestly, you nailed the sincerity here.
That purses and coffee can be lucrative.
So you were the only one that used the props. These challenges have been really hard, so I want you to be proud of yourself.
I'm happy that I got to share my story and that I got to do something that I love. Can we stop here?
Do you finally feel like the bride and not the bridesmaid?
Well, yes. After last week getting that best video in my mind, I feel good. I feel accomplished. I feel like this whole journey, even though it's not a competition, I think competition really makes the world a better place. I really do.
I don't disagree with that, though. And I think this is a highly competitive field. If you don't have that competitive spirit, it's the same thing in business, right? If you don't have that, you're not going to make it because you always want to be striving to be better. So I get where you're coming from. I'm glad you finally had your moment.
Thank you. It's funny because I was talking to my friends and I was like, I really do feel like the bridesmaid. I'm like, every week it's like, you're great, but you're good, but. And then this last week, it just felt really good to be like, you're great, period. So I was like, thank God. But
I'm really glad
it was a good journey.
Good. As influencers, this is a business, but the business is working with businesses and brands. What do you wish more businesses did to help you when you're creating content for them?
Bigger rates, for sure. Funding.
Money is an
funding.
interesting point.
Yes, funding. I feel like if we had our ideas funded, or at least my niche, or Bijan, we're cinematic inclined. So we love cinematic. We want to give that ad, TV, HD, 4K. And so for me, every time I'm given some type of task or if I want to do something for a brand, I personally want to do something that is worth watching for whoa, this is catching eyes. So if it was hey, this is what I can bring, but I need this. Can we work on a collaboration? And if it's yes, let's do it. Oh my God, I'd make magic.
I get that. And it's interesting you said too, about some people's rates are huge, which they are. And I think it can be a thing where on the face, it feels like, oh, that's too much. But when you consider most people are a one-person team, they're doing everything. Like when you think about it, if you were to crew that, how much that would cost, and yet one person is doing all of it, it starts to not sound that big anymore. And it's also about knowing your worth, just like for a business. Like, you know your value, and when you do have a large audience, or even if you have a small audience, if they're engaging, because engagement is bigger than anything. If they're loyal, that translates to sales or numbers. So
sometimes engagement doesn't even matter because you guys just don't understand. Businesses don't understand the work, the mental stigma, the stuff we go through. Like me, coming home from school, having to do chores, going to work, getting off of work, bringing home $300. When I have almost 1 million followers and brands are offering me, I have to beg a brand. I never forget. I'm like, hey, you got anything for me? Yeah, we got this. 3 videos for $300.
yeah.
Like, I need more. Yeah, for sure.
I think to add on to that, not specifically the funding, it's more so diversity. A lot of the issue stems from the people in the higher up not really wanting to hire people who are older, people who are trans, people who are plus size, people of color. Not just that, but also advocacy from like our white counterparts in the space, right? Like having those people that are rallying for us and rooting for us. Like, you know what, I know someone else. That's really important for me too. It's just like looking at this space with a different lens and having people in the higher ups not being afraid to work with creators that have platforms that are different.
And even adding on to that, being women going towards our 60s, what does that look like in this marketplace, and is it doable? And that is exactly why we jumped into it, because we want to be those people that show everyone it is doable. We have a lot to offer, and we're excited about what that looks like, you know, in the future. But it is what Naomi said, right? Sometimes when you get to be a certain age, you are overlooked, and it's a market for young people. And it doesn't need to be that way. Like, we have a voice, we have a lot of wisdom and a lot to share. I think we use that as our superpower.
What I wish businesses would do a little bit more is really invest in that meeting that you have before you give them the assignment. As much clarity as you can give to an influencer in terms of what your expectations are and what are the goals of your business, who do you think this is going to reach, the more clarity you can give your influencer, your product will be much more effective. And because I've worked with some businesses and they give you full reign, and then they'll get the deliverable and it's not up to par. And it's because they don't, you know, I don't think they invest enough time in that meeting that you should be having beforehand. So I just think clarity and direction like helps the whole process.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing a common theme, and it's interesting because when we were putting together the show, diversity was a huge thing. Like, that was one of the first conversations. We didn't want to do the show if it was just carbon copies of everybody. A, it's not interesting to watch. And B, there are so many beautiful people from different walks of life, different age ranges, backgrounds, all of, like, that's what's interesting. Like, to take an experiment, right, where we all given you the same challenge, and to see all those points of views make different products. Like, what about that excited you?
Well, that's exactly it. So, because I'm a creator myself, I enjoy creating and just seeing the process that I don't personally go through. And then if you're in a large class with other people, and we're all given the same challenge, I know the painting that I might do will look very different than the person sitting right next to me, and both are valid. Which is really, but Bijan, I loved your comment earlier about businesses preparing, and I think they prepare for every other form of media. They just don't know how to talk to you.
No.
And this is the challenge. Like, this is a foreign world. Well, I guess you're an influencer, so here you go. Where if it were a press release or a corporate video campaign or any ad campaign they would be totally prepared with all the data and all the demographics they want. They just don't know how to speak to you. So this show has been very informative, I think, for the business community to understand, talk to an influencer exactly like you would talk to any other person that you're working with in marketing communications.
I think some businesses traditionally are still having a hard time taking influencers seriously. So, you know, from a business standpoint, how do you think influencers can change that? Like, I don't want to say it as, you know, how can we take it more seriously, but genuinely, what is it do you think that needs to happen for there to be less of a communication gap?
The influencing label is so broad, from people that are showing the watch that they just received or practicing a new TikTok choreography to what you're doing, which is a completely separate world, right? And this is the challenge, I think, in the influencing community. You are all able to tell stories, but in the business world, this is more about them and trying to connect with an audience versus all about you. And I think there's a real challenge there with the social media population, the influencing population, where I think for the vast majority, my perception is it's all about them. And you're coming to me to show you wear your products or demonstrate your products. And if you can connect with that story about the message you're trying to deliver to the audience you want to deliver, you are the future storytellers. This is the platform for future storytelling. And it's exciting to be here at really the genesis of something that I think is going to be transformative for the next 5-10 years going forward.
I'd love to move on to our youngest influencer. DeAndre is our college student who moonlights as Grandma Pullin. His unwavering, upbeat attitude and comedic content were always a joy to watch, but he sometimes struggled to hit the mark. Let's take a look back on his journey.
Hi, I'm comedian Dre.
I'm coming locked and loaded, and I'm finna show up and show out.
We just gotta find 3X, so yeah.
We all love your grandma sketch videos, but when we're promoting something, is it always has to be positive.
Yeah. Okay.
Change your plans. Actually really excited to take on this and go crazy with it.
Do you know how dangerous that is?
Take a breath. I'm like,
Got started on any videos. I have not done no BTS.
Because I'm busy and I'm stressed. And I'm a full-time college student.
I am so tired.
But the work is not done.
Laundro Study, a unique fashion of a laundromat and study space designed to make a laundry day productive. Our core demographic? College students.
My mouse is dead.
This is gross.
Can you believe I haven't got started?
It's pissing me off.
Why would you give those wigs to anybody?
DeAndre, this was fantastic.
I think I'm a 10 times better, more influencer after being in the show.
Now I can rest.
I'm about to cry. My girlfriend would get on me for being on the phone in the car, man.
Distracted cell phone use, DeAndre.
Man, I was excited. God is good, let's just say that.
It was such a joy to
Yeah,
watch
it is.
everything you put out. Just your energy is so infectious. It is such a joy to be around, truly.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's been a lot of Tylenols taken, a lot of migraines, but we did it, we here, and I'm just glad that we got it done.
I'm also really curious what y'all wished people knew went into being influencers.
There's this whole stigma and controversy about how real being an influencer is for work. And my thing is, like, jobs in general are hard, not just content creation, take that out of the equation. People's jobs, 9-to-5s, are difficult and are hard, and I agree 100%. But I also wish people would understand that, like, when you're behind the camera and you have to see the mean comments, for me, I think it's more of a mental toll. I'm not physically out there, you know, obviously the people who are working hard, I love that, but, like, I'm not out there physically doing that. For me, more it's mentally, and I just wish people would understand that that, for me, has always been the hardest part of content creation, and maybe hold space for that, because it's our decision to do this, it's what we love, but also it's like, it is hard when you're getting comments about your weight or about your journey on your transition or about the way that you look, a pimple on your face. You read these comments, you're not just skipping them, so that's me.
My favorite thing to be like, I hate your voice. And it's like, yeah, well, I don't love it either, but it's the voice that I have. Like, what do you want from me, you know?
It's rough.
Do you guys get in the comments when people start saying things? Or do you worry about, do you? You get in the comments?
I'm always in the comments.
Okay.
And then what I figured out is they just want to talk because I kind of pick their brain a little bit and like, okay, why are you saying this, you know? And so by the end of the conversation, they're subscribing, they want to be my friend. I don't know, I just think they're just alone. Maybe some people alone. Some people are just mean.
That's, I was going to say, that's a very nice experience.
I've done that.
Pro whisperer.
There you go. You should sell those services. Or like, mental health coaching for influencers.
Right. I follow a particular influencer who literally posts the comment of a troll and then responds. That's too much energy. Because it's bad enough I got to get up, wash my behind, cook some food, pay the rent, pay the bills. Oh, Grandma Pullin's coming out, I'm sorry. But, it's too much, so I just bypass it. Like, it don't matter,
Yeah.
I like the comment section. I mean, a big part of what I do as a street interviewer is I like to provoke conversation. I think my videos are succeeding if people are in the comments and they're kind of debating. You know, if I'm bringing up an issue, an LGBT issue, if I'm bringing up an issue about the election, and then a conversation started, that's positive. I'm doing my job correctly. I do think that influencers, your conduct in the comments is important, and your viewers and your followers, they look at the way you respond to comments, and there's a way to be, I think, savvy in the comments. That's really where you build the community, I think. You have to respond in a certain way and realize, like, that's an avatar of you. Are you someone that's using emojis a lot? Are you responding in a defensive manner? Are you defensive but like in kind of a savvy way? I think your conduct in the comments actually is something that your followers are also watching. So I take that very seriously. And yeah, to the haters, oh my God, yeah. But you have to have a thick skin in this industry, and it's not personal, and you have to get over it. And you're choosing to put yourself out there, so I don't think you should put too much energy into, you know, making these videos like, oh, you know, you're all haters. Like, we all know that. You just got to move on and get your check and you know, pity the fool.
While DeAndre plays a grandma, our newest influencers, the Gramfluencers, Penelope and Trina, continuously stole our hearts with their positive and wholesome content. However, being only 6 months into this career, the challenges came with their own learning curves and even threatened to break them up. Let's take a look back at their journey.
Come along with us.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3. They loved the video. The only critique they had was that it was just a little bit too long.
Just tweaking it a little bit. She stole the words out of my mouth.
We got our challenge yesterday, and I'm actually at my mama's. Say hi, Mama.
Hi, Mama.
I would love to see you guys do a video without music in the future.
That's so hard, y'all.
And my brain is bursting. Let me just tell you, this challenge has taken us out.
Great selling point. The only kind of note is it didn't necessarily feel like they were in the same space.
It's hard.
I'm tired.
We're trying to figure this out.
They said of all of the videos, this is one they would put on their feed.
I think we're doing good, though.
We are doing good. And we weren't mad at you guys.
How do you guys feel after watching that, genuinely? I mean, it's only been 6 months since you guys been doing this.
I love it. I was a little nervous, but it kind of came out really well.
You did. You guys did a fantastic job, really.
It's very surreal, you know, that it's all kind of put together now, and you look back and you just kind of think about the journey, and it's just been such a fun ride, and just with everyone. So, yeah, I'm looking at that going, okay. All right, we did it. And that's a great feeling of accomplishment.
And you know, and I'm gonna touch on something that I think isn't talked about enough, but it's just the truth of it. Every job is hard. You know, like I have a background in the entertainment industry. I've done my 16-hour days. Like, it's hard work. But doing this work, you're on 24/7. Again, you set your schedule, but it's highly competitive. And you have to constantly be brainstorming, you have to constantly be hustling. And like for me with my niche, because we all have different niches, my life, my vacations, my work, everything is my content. There is no time off for me. And so burnout is real, and people are also judging your life, not just who you are, who you surround yourself with. And again, it's what you choose to share, but part of what makes this industry and this career work, and like you talk about longevity, people have to invest in you. If they don't care about you, it doesn't matter how great your content is, because they're following you. It just might happen they make content that they like, but they're really following you. So when there is criticism, it can be harsher, because it's not like, you know, when I did makeup, well, they didn't like what I did makeup-wise. Like, that's not who I am as a human being. It's like, but they didn't like my artistic skill. Like, I think that's something personally that I wish more people held space for, or had empathy when people talked about how hard it can be being an influencer. And I think people tend to write it off because we do get big paychecks sometimes, or we get to go to really cool events and get free things, which is all great. But it doesn't mean we're not working our asses off.
I think people think it's really easy. It's hard for us because we have to actually plan working days outside of working days for ourselves. And so people think, oh, you just shoot it once once or you shoot it twice and you're good. No, we shoot it 30 times, and sometimes if we're lucky, we're good.
Yeah.
And even just remembering what we have to speak and do, and then the editing, the behind the scenes, it is 24/7. And so that, you know, on top of having full-time jobs and then doing that on the weekend, it's become a full-time job. 100%. And I just don't think people realize the amount of time and effort that goes into that.
Absolutely.
Right?
And lastly, we watched his content go from man on the street interviews to beautifully shot ads good enough to be on TV. Bijan consistently delivered strong videos, but sometimes found himself overthinking what to do. Let's take a look back on his journey.
What's up, guys? They're giving us a challenge like every week. Have you ever heard of
Unique Vintage did think it was a little bit salesy.
Which it kind of was. I'm really big on aesthetics. We house beauty professionals in the same spaces where we produce our cosplay events.
I don't necessarily see how you get cosplayers from the game controller and the curling iron. I really love that you keep delivering these beautifully shot videos. That was a little boring.
I really want to push myself to not do street interviews. I think part of like this whole influences experience is about like getting out of your comfort zone.
Our anonymous reviewer did a spit take because they're like, oh my God, this is so good. It feels like an actual commercial I could watch on TV.
This is kind of fun. This is super cool, and I'm grateful. Great. Well, that's all the time we have today.
You know, I do have to say, I think out of everyone, you took your BTS more seriously than anybody. I mean, truly beautifully shot. I was watching, I'm like, this is so, it's exactly what we wanted, to really see your setup, your thought process. Looked like you had a crew, like, helping you with that. It was really impressive.
Thank you so much. I think my YouTube days when I did long form content really assisted throughout this whole time on the show. And it's been an absolute joy. Not only the competition aspect of it, or at least like the effort aspect, but the community. Like all of you have become friends, and so have you. And it's just been a really, really cool experience to be.
I am curious, how many people here have a job outside of content creation? Okay. Yeah, I don't, and this is...
I'm holding space.
Well, I think to add to that in terms of the balance between the work and enjoying it, the reason why I've chosen content creation is because I actually love speaking to people on the street. Not necessarily on the street, but I love speaking to people. I'm a street interviewer, so, but at the core, when I'm at that computer and I'm editing and I'm watching this conversation and I see them light up and then I do the cut and I add the color, there is so much fulfillment I get from what I do that it's why I've chosen this field, and that's why I love content creation. It's an industry that allows you to marry your passion with freedom. And yes, it's a lot of work, but I think that's how you'll tell your longevity in this industry, is if that begins to fade, if the work outweighs the fulfillment, that will tell you about your longevity in this career. So that's if the work becomes overwhelming, switch it up. You know, do something that's gonna inspire you. That's what this whole industry is about. It's about freedom of expression, and I think that's why I do it.
Well, speaking of expression, I have a question for all of y'all and Colin. Out of all the challenges, which ones did you find the most fun, and what was your favorite to watch?
Well, I personally am an advocate for distracted driving and making sure that we're tackling that one. So I thought that was the most fun to watch, and how every one of you approached the task. And Bijan, I mean, I literally was shocked at the end of your video and jumped out of my seat.
I checked my phone one last time to confirm directions.
You just nailed it. So I appreciate that, but every single one of your submissions for every week, I was glued, and I couldn't wait until I got a chance to go and review them, to be able to provide Malia and the cast here with feedback for you. But so thank you for that. It was so much fun to watch.
Mine was the cell phone, even though we almost broke up.
Graham, to her defense, she was very tired.
Right.
She gets really frustrated. And so you have me saying, no, Graham, do this.
Right.
And she's trying to work on it for a long time. And I'm like, Graham, no, do this. And she's like, Already posted it.
That
Right.
was my favorite
Yeah.
to shoot. We had a really nice time doing it.
We did, and we liked the whole premise behind it as well.
Yeah.
Like we were bringing a message to the community. But yeah, we almost finished up to the next show, but here we are.
That was my favorite.
I think that was my most challenging one. I think
Okay.
that was the most difficult because it's like, as a comedy girl, how do you mesh the two and find that balance of like bringing awareness of not texting and driving and trying not to make it funny but get people engaged, you know? And so that was my most challenging. I think the one I loved the most personally was our last challenge. Not because I won.
Right.
Not because me and John were talking about who was gonna win and it was me. No, honestly, it's because I felt like I really got to spotlight something that was personal to me, and I think that I was able to dig deeper. And I think that's really hard to do when you're just always, not necessarily surface level, but that's what it is. It's like comedy and fashion, and it's not like digging deeper. And I think that gave me an opportunity to really try that out.
I know my favorite was Unique Vintage. Not only because it was the beginning of the whole challenge thing. I don't know, it's just something about women. Like, I didn't have but to portray my great aunt, who's a powerful, like, just a powerhouse. Like, the things that she went through, even my girlfriend, just seeing the things that she goes through as being a woman, I just felt like being able to portray that in fashion and in a flashy way, like, let's give our women some prop. As a man, I'm saying that.
I want to tag on to that because being at our first challenge and not having any idea what we were jumping into, it was my favorite video because I felt at home and it gave both of us confidence. And we left that challenge being like, okay, all right, we're ready for what lies ahead. So for us, it was this great kickstart into the world of creating content at a different level.
I feel like it was the easiest too.
Yeah, because we were just so comfortable with that. And so, but it was almost
Vintage, that sounds, we're vintage.
Yes.
I think my favorite was probably this last one that we did, mostly because I got to see a different side of these influencers. I think the task brought out a vulnerability that I was not expecting at all and kind of revealed our humanity a bit. From the perspective of a viewer, I really loved this week. But then I also think that Unique Vintage was probably my favorite because I was man on the street. That was a week where I was doing my interviews. I do love doing that. So Unique Vintage, that challenge allowed me to do it, which was fun.
I love it. I really loved that you all formed a bond over the last few weeks. Engagement and support is key in this business, so I really hope that you continue this bond and supporting each other in the future. Let's take a look back on their journey together.
I was just kind of reflecting on how cool it is to be involved in this show.
We have had the time of our lives.
Bijan is such a diva.
Hardly. Some divas. There's some divas over there.
So excited and so grateful that I got the opportunity to join this cast.
And we're watching our challenges. Without being on this show, we wouldn't have seen this kind of growth.
I feel like I've made a family with everyone. The crew, like everyone is just so sweet and so welcoming, and it's always such a good time on set.
I just cannot believe it's over, and I'm gonna miss y'all. Graham influencers, Naomi, I'm gonna miss Bijan.
So, on that final note, thank you.
This season has been full of highs and lows, from friends almost breaking up to having their content called boring to impressing cherished charities and small businesses. All of our influencers took on these challenges with creativity and thought and really demonstrated how social media and influencing can be used in non-traditional markets. I have to say, I have enjoyed watching all of your content and watching you grow so much, and mentoring you guys through this process has really meant a lot to me. So I say this so sincerely that I am going to miss all of you so much. This has been such a beautiful journey, and I know you guys are going to go on to do amazing things. So reach out anytime, honestly. You guys are family now, and I'm just really, really proud of you.
We love you.
We love you.
Thank you so much for the experience.
And one last little surprise. To help you on your influencing journey, we have decided to gift you all mobile phone gimbals that have 360 tracking tripods, so you can track yourself wherever you go. You know, we all need some tech. We all need some tech. Go ahead and grab it. Grab it. And you get one. And you get one. Oh, everyone gets one. You all get one.
That's so cool. Thank you.
Now, would you guys humor me? Because I think to cap this off, we need a proper selfie.
Yeah.
We need a proper, I'm gonna squeeze in here. 1, 2, 3.